we might have a banger, folks. Another Star Wars video, and the title is the only duelist to beat Grievous, General Grievous, with zero difficulty. Now, obviously, it was not Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan did struggle a little bit. It's not Ahsoka, because I'm not even sure. Did Ahsoka even fight General Grievous? Because I'm sure Grievous knew of Anakin because of Ahsoka. Because when General Grievous met Anakin for the first time, he was like, "You're shorter than I expected." Or, no, wait. It was Anakin who said that, right? Yeah, it was Anakin who said that. You're shorter than I expected. Because Ahsoka told Anakin about General Grievous. So yeah, got the whole thing wrong. The only duelist, so I'm pretty sure it's Count Dooku.
Was known as the Jedi,
I think it's Count Dooku
during his era in the Clone Wars, since there were very few actual Sith running around at this point.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure this takes like way before the Clone Wars.
They would have to settle with the displeasure of the droid general who wielded four. The devastating effect that Grievous had on the Jedi was compounded by the fact that he had been trained by one of the greatest swordsmen of the entire era, and maybe
Count
of all
Dooku.
time, in the former Jedi Master, Dooku. Darth Tyrannus was a prodigy to say the least. His gift with the lightsaber was unparalleled. Dooku had
Count
studied
Dooku
the
was
discipline
so
extensively
good.
since he was a young child. His dueling skills were so great that he managed to defeat a Jedi Master at the mere age of 14, and even Darth Sidious felt somewhat threatened by his skill with the lightsaber. But despite all of this, a question that many bring up is how is it possible that General Grievous is constantly defeated by Dooku with
By the way, Count Dooku is the best duelist. Like, a lot of people don't even know this. Like, he's the best duelist. The best duelist.
Minimum effort. Ever since the
He has the best
single training scene
lightsaber
in Star Wars:
skills.
The Clone Wars 2003, as well as novels. The question
Like,
has
the movies
arisen
doesn't
as
even show it
exactly
that
how
much.
Someone as seemingly slow and aged as Dooku can easily beat General Grievous when young and energetic Jedi cannot. Again, the important thing here is Dooku doesn't just beat Grievous, he does so extremely easily. Well, my friends, today we are going to open a holocron and analyze both Grievous
But I want to know
and Dooku
why
and explain
with
why Dooku
zero
personally
difficulty.
will likely
Because
always
Grievous
have
is
an
not
edge
some
over the
fucking.
droid general.
He's not
What makes
trash.
this especially interesting, though,
He's not some
is Darth
bum.
Sidious had direct orders from Grievous to never engage Anakin Skywalker during the war, constantly holding Grievous back as he was perceived as a mad dog. And although Grievous would have to strike very luckily, Palpatine did not want to risk this rabid dog destroying his grand prize in a potential apprentice. This is relevant here because it shows that even Sidious knew that Grievous was extremely dangerous, and yet Dooku handily defeats him time and time again. Before we get into the exact explanation, we have received a vision through the Force that many that visit our archives have not yet subscribed. So if you enjoy Star Wars and learning more about the lore every single day, reach out and crush that subscribe button. And now,
Hey, like that, hit that subscribe button,
let us
guys.
first analyze Grievous. The typical consensus about the droid general is that he is an absolute monster, a killer that can basically destroy anyone in lightsaber to lightsaber combat. This is due
Grievous
to his
has a good
cybernetic
lore.
enhancements and his mind.
You know,
These
you know.
enhancements allow him to wield 4 lightsabers at once, and his cybernetically augmented mind essentially allows him to tap into the 7 forms of lightsaber combat and execute them perfectly, almost as if his mind is a supercomputer on dueling, allowing Grievous to transition from form to form seamlessly with near perfection. In fact, Grievous is one of the few individuals in all of the galactic lore that is able to achieve mastery of a lightsaber form without the use of the Force at all. But how exactly does Grievous
that's
approach a
true.
duel, and how is he trained by Dooku to
That
do
is
so?
true.
His main goal is to surprise and overwhelm many of his Jedi foes, causing them to lose focus and succumb to the barrage of lightsaber blades at his disposal. Grievous's mechanical strength cannot be understated, as his arms carry an immense amount of brute force behind each and every strike. Not to mention, Grievous keeps his Jedi opponents from using the Force by making sure they are constantly either distracted or afraid. though he does have contingency plans for more skilled Jedi. His claws digging into the ground allows him to evade strong telekinetic pushes or pulls. Not to mention in Legends continuity, Grievous can pull his arms and neck within his chest and hunker down into a pod in order to endure the strongest force abilities, such as when he did this during the Battle of Coruscant. Only Jedi with the distinct advantage of being able to combat multiple opponents has ever stood a sufficient chance against Grievous. The two best examples being Obi-Wan Kenobi, who was the master of the Total Defensive Form 3, and Kit Fisto, the master of Form 1, Shi-Cho. Shi-Cho, whose wide-arching strikes are perfectly suited for dealing with multiple enemies and against multiple weapons. Everything we have talked about, by all accounts, should mean that the total devastation of someone like Dooku,
looks
who was the master
badass.
of Form 2
And knowing
Makashi,
that those
the duelist form, is
lightsabers are
perfectly
like
suited for one-on-one
other Jedi
lightsaber
lightsabers,
combat, which means that it should be, theoretically, weak against Grievous. There is no better lightsaber form that exists for the sole purpose of dueling one opponent than Makashi. However, the three broadest weaknesses of the form was that it was not very good against blaster fire, taking on multiple enemies,
Yo, and
or for
Dooku right
generating
here.
momentum. All things
Who's
that
fucking
Grievous has in
goated,
his
yo.
corner as strength. In contrast, the strikes and footwork of Makashi stress the importance of precision and disarmoring an opponent rather than generating pure brute strength. As a result, it wasn't as good at generating momentum in combat like Forms 4 or 5. A true master of Form 2 would know how to divide and isolate his opponents so that he could face them one at a time, something we have seen Dooku do several times, especially when dueling Obi-Wan and Anakin. However, I'm sure you realize that this sort of strategy would not work against General Grievous, especially when he has all four of his lightsabers activated. Not to mention, Grievous's natural ability to generate brute force should allow him to smash
But Dooku
through
can use
Makashi's
the
guard,
Force
overwhelming
lightning
the count with
and just fuck him
ease.
up.
By every account,
Literally.
all of Dooku's weaknesses are Grievous's strengths. The odds on paper stack up against Dooku in basically every single notable category. But the thing that we need to remember is that everything we mentioned is all just theoretical. What we mean by this, though, is Dooku knows the droid general inside and out. Dooku is the one who trained Grievous.
Yeah.
Dooku is the one that taught
And saved him,
Grievous
I
how
think.
to butcher the Jedi, because Dooku, of course, was once a Jedi Master himself. In the training sequence in the Clone Wars 2003 series, we entered their duel with Grievous putting Dooku on the defensive side and keeping him on the back foot. However, the entire time, Dooku was easily deflecting the droid general's blades and harshly critiquing his form. Dooku says, "Stop using standard attacks. Focus on the unorthodox." We can already get a feeling for what's going on. Grievous at this point in time was mostly using regular and straightforward motions with his blades. Dooku, though, could see them coming a mile away. The reason for this is his ability to touch the Force, his skill, and his battle intuition. Something many forget is that when a Force sensitive is in the zone while in combat, they get quick, brief flashes of the next second or so.
That's the thing as well. You
This
gotta
is how
remember,
Jedi are
Grievous
able to
does-
predict their
he
enemies'
doesn't have
attacks
to
nearly
force.
perfectly, also allowing their blades to clash cleanly. Dooku lives in this element, and this is where he excels in a duel. His mindset easily slips into the place of peace and focus. Complete focus. Therefore, his intuition is higher than nearly any Jedi ever, and standard attacks are going to be effortless for Dooku to avoid. But here, something else interesting happens. Grievous does change his tactic, using his feet to attack while jumping around. But Dooku has a new criticism for him. "How often must I tell you? Control my center line." Dooku is berating the general for one of the most basic dueling tactics. To put it simply, a duelist's central line is the path of motion on which they move. For many, this is forward, backward, and then side to side. The central line of motion is how a duelist calculates the trajectory of their footwork, which in turn directs how they will strike. Dooku tells Grievous that if he is able to control the center line, he would effectively be controlling the path in which his enemy would move, able to close off opportunities for attack or escape. Dooku then reminds the droid general that if he is going to win, he must destroy his focus. As they continue, Dooku tells the general that he's holding his saber too tightly, but the Sith Lord easily slaps it out of his hand and says, "Now too lightly." In 4 distinct instances within 30 seconds, Dooku completely dismantles Grievous, picking apart every single one of his weaknesses and small imperfections in what should be a perfect form. His lesson is, do not use standard attacks, control the center line, destroy your opponent's focus, and have a proper grip on your lightsaber. Dooku was a master of Makashi, and as Kenobi put, things such as leverage, footwork, and positioning came as naturally to him as breathing did. All of these critiques of Grievous goes to show just how far beyond the general that Darth Tyrannus really was. On the outside, Grievous is intimidating, and it feels impossible that anyone could defeat him. But Dooku pulls back the layers was because he was able to destroy a Jedi's focus and terrify them. Dooku's lesson to Grievous, like I keep telling you, General, if you are to beat the best of the Jedi, you must have fear, surprise, and intimidation on your side.
Man, I'm so glad
lacking,
Clone Wars exists.
For you to retreat. You must break
because we have so much depth
Dooku
to these characters because of the Clone Wars. Literally,
he knows that he can dismantle him with hardly any real effort whatsoever. Dooku, though, is a Sith, and although Grievous can surprise and scare a Jedi, I believe that this would never work against a member of the Sith Order. Trying to use fear and intimidation on a Dark Lord would not work whatsoever. The Sith have transformed anger and fear into power. But to illustrate things even further, let's explore a quote from Vader. Vader ended up dueling a recreation of General Grievous during the era of the Empire, another cybernetic monster that utilized 4 lightsabers. But when confronting this enemy, Vader simply said this: when you have the power of the dark side,
and I have to watch Jedi Tales
lightsaber.
Man.
But anyway, my friends, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on Dooku having the easiest time against General Grievous than anyone in the entire lore? Does this give you more insight into the droid general and his master? And who among the Jedi, besides Kenobi, would pose the best chance against General Grievous? As always, my friends,
who would pose the best chance? Anakin? Bro, Anakin would fucking...
To me, as there is no channel without all of your support. Thank you so much.
If Darth Vader fought Grievous, bro, done, bro, done. I think if anything, the only person who would destroy Grievous with 0 difficulty is Darth Vader, not Count Dooku. I think Count Dooku would beat him pretty easily, but it wouldn't be like 0 difficulty. I think it would go on for a few minutes because Grievous is not a bum, bro. Like, people don't know. Grievous is good. But, and I think, bro, he could even go, man, you can't say that. But I was gonna say that he could go like toe to toe with Darth Vader, but you can't, bro. You're getting crushed, son. Anyways, if you did like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, man. I will be making more Star Wars content because I love Star Wars and I know a lot about the Star Wars lore and stuff like that. So yeah, see you in the next video.